Cool. We're now going to make things a little bit lighter, and we're going to move on to the next topic. And how am I going to do this? Basically, in the music game these days, since like hip hop's inception, the art of sampling has been it's been an art. You know what I mean? People have used it to reach amazing heights, and even in the beginning, like people decried sampling in hip hop as like unoriginal and all that shit. But sampling has lasted and stood the test of time. But we now find ourselves in an era where people would argue that the art of sampling is becoming very, very simplified, to where people are taking little bits, well, not little bits, big bits of a song, placing it on their own and kind of just marking it as their own. And we live in a time now where potentially it's becoming more and more frequent in the US and the UK. And our good friend and street correspondent Mo, I'm not going to say has a problem with it, but he had a query about it. And he has views on it. Would you like to express your views, Mo?
That laugh was nasty.
No, so basically, I've been doing my due diligence before that topic came up.
Aficionado.
I was actually out here just, surveying the landscape of UK music, seeing what's in the air.
Landscape.
I heard Aitch surveying the landscape.
Bro, due diligence, surveying, landscape. This brother's on.
No, I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to take you through my journey.
Go on.
So my first stop took me to Aitch's Ashanti song. So, okay. Then I carried on doing a bit more digging.
What was sampled on that song?
Baby. Okay. He sampled the shit out of Baby. Like the whole song.
Classic tune.
Not anymore. And then I started thinking, what is the next wave of UK music? And I feel like it's going to be this simple sampling era we're in right now has gone ridiculous. Whether it's, I heard there's an artist called Z Flipper. That's his name, right?
I don't know.
Let me Google. I wrote it down. Z Flipper, who sampled Rock Your Body. By Justin Timberlake. Sounds horrendous, but he's got views.
Is he a rapper?
Yeah. And it sounds, respectfully, bro, sounds trash. And then I just got to thinking, where is UK music going? And I feel like sampling's always been there. So the question I wanted to ask you guys is, I don't know if I'm in a bit of a contradiction. I feel like sampling's always been there, but we was at an age in the UK and US.
You think it's always been
not
here?
In the UK, but in the US.
Grime rap scene?
No, but in the US. But are we at an age now where we realize what's being sampled and that's why we're triggered?
No.
Or is it over the simplistic sampling they're actually doing?
Well, yes. before we get into it, like, we should really get into what simple sampling is. In your opinion, what is simple sampling?
When you just take the song and you just do a couple of verses of it. Aitch on Baby, to me that's simple sampling. Rock Your Body was simple sampling. Flowers by Arrdee was simple sampling.
It's a good example. DJ Khaled, Rihanna, Rise Until Wild Thoughts,
and then the horrendous one he had with SZA,
sampling Wyclef, Sean, and Carlos Santana, and that.
Yeah,
which you could argue may have started the wave of like that repurposing of tunes that, especially that a certain generation kind of grew up on. Which I feel like is a lot of like a source of discontent as well. People kind of just taking tunes that we grew up on and we love for how they are, like originally, and kind of flipping it in whatever way that they feel is gonna bang, basically. So Wild Thoughts, like the thing with Miss Jackson, that horrible war crime he did with SZA.
You call it a war crime?
It's a war crime, brother.
Mugabe.
Yes. War crime. He should be tried in the international courts. Yes.
What about SZA?
The Hague. You should go to the Hague.
And SZA?
Shit. Salute to SZA. That was an awful choice. An awful choice. Oh my days. I get nightmares about that song. I shiver.
No, you really don't like it. Yeah, you really.
I hate the shit, man. He turned an amazing song into like a stadium rock ballad that no one would listen to, even if you were the biggest rock and roll fan. It was just so bad. But you could argue that I'm blaming Khaled anyway for starting this way.
But is that when you started to realize the features? Do you reckon? That's my point. That got to that's perfect age where we was awake from Sorry Miss Jackson. We was alive from Maria. You didn't care when Ja Rule was doing Living It Up and sampling the shit out of Stevie Wonder. We didn't care. Do you know what I mean though? If one of my older uncles or whoever heard it, he would have been like, there's no way you're listening to that. He hated that. I mean, one of my uncles hated Ja Rule. I say, dude, he hated that song. But that was the shit to me.
Yeah.
So are we just them annoying uncles where it's like,
Are we those
Don't
old guys
touch.
in the club now?
I don't think
Are we those old guys in the club now?
No, we're not at all, man. I just think it's just not being done very well, man. And we're critiquing that. That's all it is, man. I think even if it's a sample of the original song that we absolutely loved, we adored, and we grew up with it, man, but it was done very well, it was chopped like amazingly, then I think we would give it credit. But when it's just not being done very well and it's coming across extremely lazy, it leaves too much room for us to like critique it. And that's exactly what's happening, man. And just going full circle, and that's why like people like B. Miller are quite dangerous, and that's why when they're putting out, hold on. That's why when they're putting out them bullshit lists, yeah, it will impact like the mediocrity that's being put forth in the mainstream, bro, because there's not enough critics out there calling out this laziness, and that's what I'm circling back to, like the sampling thing, bro. Like it's all very lazy, bro. Like when what's my man's name? What's the drill artist? Digger D.
No, stunt when
he did the G Unit tune, bro. Like, bro, I was appalled by that,
but
bro.
that's
and that's not because I love G. You know, man, know how I feel about G Unit, so it's not even because of that. It just wasn't done very well, bro. That's all. You just repurposed a tune. You might as well just have done the exact. In fact, it was the exact same beat. It was
same
everything.
same flow, everything.
Why it's a little different.
The sample wasn't even hidden.
But is that a sample? Is that a
like even
cover?
with the Stevie Wonder and the Ja Rule tune, yeah? Even with the Stevie Wonder and the Ja Rule tune, yeah? Like, okay, cool, you know what the sample is, but it's not like the exact same beat.
So is it fair then to say was Digger D a sample, or was it just more of a cover?
I think it was a cover.
It was a cover.
So
but it was his own
it's a
version.
bit
No,
different.
but they sampled it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It was a rework. I mean, it was basically the same beat, right?
Yeah.
So
Same beat, same flow, same.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's lazy to me.
I don't necessarily see that as a sample. I think it's more paying homage in a sense, because it's basically the same beat versus something like Aitch's Baby, which is
it's a sample,
repurposed.
bro. No, it's a sample, man. 50 probably had to clear it. It's a sample.
You know, he said 50 clean it, but I don't.
It's a sample. Then.
To me, that's more. I look at that as a bit. I look at that more as what you're saying as a homage, because I look at how much of a
rework.
So
how
how
much
do
of a
you? So
digger.
what? So that means there's a very thin line between a rework and a sample.
No, that's the only.
But a rework is a sample. What are we talking about here?
That's it.
No, it's not necessarily.
It absolutely is,
No,
bro.
it's not, bro.
Of course
Is
it is.
No,
What
it's
do you mean?
not.
How is it? How is it not?
Bro, him taking the beat of Stunt 101 and him getting it cleared by 50 and just rapping over the beat, that's not a sample.
Of course it's a sample.
How is it a
The
sample?
producer that made that beat, yeah, he
No.
sampled the original song.
That's not a sample though. He took the beat.
He took the whole song.
He took the whole beat.
That's
of the song.
sampling.
I don't think that's sampling.
I remember we was talking about this as well
Bro,
a couple
that
of days
is
ago.
sampling
Me
to-
and
that
me
is sampling
and
to
Yemi
me,
were
bro.
having this conversation a couple of days ago. Do you remember?
I don't think that's
Because I mentioned
because
this.
it's not the same as like Ye taking like whatever soul songs he takes and then just chopping them up, and that's a song.
Fam, that's sampling, B. When Puff did it for Biggie Mace, More Money, More Problems, bruv. He sampled the Diana Ross tune. I'm Coming Out, bruv. That's a sample. But
But bro,
it sounds like it's the exact same thing, though.
What Yemi's saying is there's
Bro,
still
bro.
modifications in that
Yeah,
song.
those are like tweaks.
Yeah,
This
but
was clear 1 to 10 the
cool,
same
cool,
song.
But there are different levels of sampling, isn't there? There are a lazy way of doing it, and then there's a bit more of an artistic way of doing it. But it's still sampling. Whether you're literally just like jacking from the original thing, yeah, it might sound like a rework, but you're still sampling it. It's just being done very poorly.
And that's where the laziness comes into
Yeah.
it. That's where the laziness comes into it. Because my 21 questions were the same thing as well with Digger D.
He did the 21 questions thing as well.
You done 21 questions?
That was a sample.
Yeah.
I don't think Pump 101 is a sample, personally.
What's it
Because
called?
he's
Pump
literally-
101.
You've literally just taken the beat and rapped over it. Versus the 21 questions one where he's literally redone it
That's what I'm
and
gonna
sampling the song.
That's my point. Stunt 101 is rare because
It'll
he
make more
literally
sense
took the
if you
whole
listen
thing.
to it.
He took the whole thing. So to me that's still a sample,
It's
but it is a
defo
homage as
sample,
well.
man.
But to me, that's the epitome. We're treading towards a lazy culture in the UK with the way the sample is going. And I generally do think it's for, number one, I think it's for TikTok.
Mm.
I think a lot of people use background vocals of a pop song, which is I'm seeing a lot more now. A pop song will be in the background. They do the pop song on TikTok. It's viral on TikTok.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So I just think it's becoming very lazy and they know what they need to chase. And it's easier to sample a pop song. These kids were alive for the 2000s. They know what was cracking.
Mm.
If something was popping in the 2000s, just remake it and make it today. You got kids that weren't alive like that.
Mm.
It's very lazy. It's very, very lazy.
Well, it's low hanging fruit, right? Because these artists, and mainly we got to talk about the producers, because the producers are out here doing this stuff. And then, the artists are okay in it because they see the value of it. Because in this world where, TikTok virality, trying to get those streams, trying to get up the charts, something like that's going to plug in the heartstrings of people generally and kind of kick in that nostalgia factor is going to do well. Something like an Aitch Baby is going to do well because of the sample and what it is, basically.
That song
The
should
same
never
thing
be
with RD,
touched, bro.
same thing, and all that stuff. So it's low hanging fruit artistically because it's like you might not necessarily be doing it for art's sake, but at the same time, it's like maybe you are because you're repurposing something that was a hit and you're breathing new life into it and making it another hit. So it really just depends on, for me, it just depends on what side you stand on. It could be artistic because you're flipping it, but it could also be not because it could be deemed as lazy.
Could it also be that people are following trends as well?
That's all. That's exactly.
It does kind of feel like the scene at the moment is a bit lost as far as the next direction of what the next hot thing is going to be, man. So it seems like we're clutching at straws in a sense where we're following what America's doing because a lot of artists over there are doing it, man. When Meek dropped the Championships album, bro, like. That was he just sampled the thing. Do you know what I mean?
There was a big viral song.
Bare the tunes that on there was like samples and that. Do you know what I mean? So maybe the UK artists are seeing that and feeling, oh shit, you know what I mean? I can put my twist on it. That could work. And then they're just doing that. And it seems like that's like the direction we're going.
That's the new wave.
Do you know when?
That's 100% the new wave.
Do you know when? Alright, cool. I just wanted to Google when it came out. But do you remember that there was a big viral song where it was "Who I Smoke," and he sampled, I believe it's 1,000 Miles. That what was the white chick?
Yeah.
And then and he's talking about smoking people. When that came out is when I started to see UK really start to, because that went viral on TikTok.
When did that come out?
COVID times, like a couple of years ago, I think, like a year and a half ago. And that's when I really started to see UK really go crazy with the sample.
Well, for me, it was Ain't It Different. Heady, Stormzy, and AJ Tracy. They did the Crazy Town sample.
Yeah.
And for me, that was when I was like, okay, this is cool because, you know, it wasn't as quote unquote lazy as other artists. It was more of a homage thing. And they were breathing new life into it anyway. Whereas now, fast forward, with people like Arrdee and Aitch and Tion, you know, teaming up with La Rue to do going in for the kill sort of thing. It's not as intricate, I'd say.
No. Dino's got a Maroon 5 feature, Maroon 5 sample. It's a big Maroon 5 song. I forgot which one it was. It's lazy, man. It's late and it's a cheat sheet. Everything it's an easy. Respectfully, it's a cheat sheet. It's an easy win.
It's interesting because, like, obviously, we never really did that over here in the UK, man. We don't really. Our grime artists and our rap artists didn't really sample like that. So it's interesting to see, like, that it's now being done. And
but
I think
our scene's just growing as well.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to just the evolving nature of our scene as well, man. Because we're becoming bigger and we're trying to be bigger in it. So we want to, when we look at things that are happening commercially in the States and seeing how successful that is, it's inevitable that we are going to try that as well. I think it just adds to our ever-growing scene as well, whether we like it or not.
Sample was always going to achieve that.
I also think it's a microcosm of society in general. We are a society that's obsessed with rebooting Spider-Man 12 times, with, you know, rebooting, you know, all kinds of different TV shows and movies and nostalgia, basically. So I think in that respect, and that's probably why these songs do so well, because let's not get it twisted. All of these songs that we've mentioned, they've done bits, like
all of them.
Streams, in terms of, you know, TikTok, social media, they've done bits. So we love nostalgia. We love memory lane. So if anything, it could be quite smart for some producers to then kind of do that and take advantage of that. Whether it's artistic is obviously.
Are we running out of ideas? I don't mean to cut you off. In the UK,
I think this is an idea though.
I think we're just in a dry patch, like you said.
Yeah.
Previously, we're in like a very meaty.
It's just.
I think we need like Huss back. I think that will rejuvenate
expeditiously
quite a bit, because it'll be quite interesting to see where he's at musically as well. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like because he's like one of the leaders in our scene, a lot of things could come as a result of whatever he brings forth as well. But yeah, we're definitely going for a very, very dry patch.
I think but I don't think it's going to change with Huss, if that makes sense.
You don't think so?
It didn't change with Dave. It won't change with Huss.
Yeah, but Dave is different to Huss.
No, my point is it's bigger than these artists. I think a lot of people just want instant success and they know what they need to do to get it.
Plus,
someone like Huss is a musician. He will go missing for 3 years and come out with an album. The ones that are doing all of these samples, and respectfully to them, the ones that are doing all of this kind of simple samples and stuff, they're not artists like the way Huss is.
Plus, if we're if we're doing just visibility, and let's just say that Stormzy, Dave, and Huss are tier 1, you then have people like, just in terms of visibility these days, people like Heady, who's dabbled in this sort of thing, Tion, Arrdee, Aitch, Digga D, big names who are doing this and they're active. They're Like on socials, they're about, they're present versus the other three in tier one. So it's gonna be more of a trend because they're the ones setting them. They're the ones with the biggest voices. So they're very much dictating musically where this shit is going.
I disagree. I don't think they do. I think J Hus could come out with an album and the world's still going to go. The UK's still going to be doing what it's doing. Same way Kendrick dropped the album, you got Jack Harlow on the top 10 list. Oh, sorry. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think Hus or Dave or Storm.
Oh, you're saying the others. You're saying the others.
Oh,
sorry.
Do it because they're not
outside.
They're not as viral necessarily as the people like Digger and Aitch who are just active on TikTok and social media and make these types of songs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like they're obviously better artists, you could argue, but not that they're not as popular, but maybe right now they're not as popular.
I agree.
You see what I mean?
I agree.
And obviously, popularity equals success.
Yeah.
And if you're going for that nostalgia model, if you're doing this sampling, then you're only going to be more successful, sort of thing.
And they're not dumb. They know that them three are on.
Shit, Ashanti approved the two.
Which is ridiculous, by the way.
She was out here all up in the videos
No,
dancing.
I'm sorry. And I love Ashanti. I love her sideburns and everything. But like...
But again...
No, man, that's because that's the one that really hit me. More than Stunt 101. Way more than... Do you know how much of a banger Baby is, bro?
But if the person
What?
If the person that made the song is cool with it...
Maybe, baby.
Shouldn't we?
But why wouldn't Ashanti approve it though? Like,
it's a UK
my
audience,
man's he's a popular artist here.
Do you know
what I mean? It keeps her name and her
in a whole other country.
do you know what I mean? So why
it works for these people. It works for 50.
Why wouldn't
it works for 50. It works for all these other niche artists that they've sampled. It works for them.
But I'm not even...
Who collabed with Tion Wayne?
I'm not even mad at 50 though, because I get why Central C... That's your... Not your kid, but you know what I mean. Like, he looks up to you.
They come from that family tree.
He looks up to you. The Baby and Aitch one just threw me for a whole nother loop. I'll be honest with you. That one was just like, whoa.
I wonder why.
We're not about to do that.
We are.
We're not about to do that.
Fine.
But it's just more of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, really?
Why though?
That song should have just get touched, man. It should have get touched.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
I feel you though.
It should have get touched. I know Aitch didn't listen. Nah, man, it should have get touched. You think Aitch listened to it at home?
He shuffled it,
You think You think I care? You think Aitch listened to Ashanti at home?
Well, I said this.
I'm gonna ask you a question. You hear me?
I said to you.
You hear me?
How do we know his mum didn't have a little bit of sauce and had Ashanti in the living room?
Hey, respectfully, I don't know. I don't know his mum. God bless her. I don't know.
I've spoken to so many
But
rappers who had mums that were listening to like Whitney and like Ashanti and okay, maybe not Whitney so much, but more contemporary people like Brandy and Ashanti and all those people. Like, it's possible.
I don't think Aitch was out of yard listening to.
How do you know?
I don't think he was out of yard, man. I don't think
you can't make those assumptions.
He don't know about unfoolish. He don't know about foolish.
How do you know that?
Come on, man.
How do you know that?
Legs between your thighs and he. Come on, man.
Anyway. I do want to bring up another point about this sampling though, because a lot of drill artists are now doing it, and obviously drill has been demonized as this monster genre. But I think the sampling kind of works in drill's favor because it means you're kind of softening the palate.
1000%.
You're making these artists more palatable. You're making them more approachable. You're making them more like feasible as artists and as bankable people. So I think for drill's sake, this kind of sampling craze has been very beneficial. You know what I'm saying? It might not necessarily be beneficial for the scene as a whole, but for drill, a genre that a lot of people thought wouldn't be here in like 3, 4, 5 years, it's giving it new life. It's breathing new life.
Definitely.
And even if it's the same thing with grime, a grime artist could drop an album that isn't necessarily grime, but it's still like the spirit of grime because it's them. Same thing with drill.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So in that respect, I don't really mind the sampling so much because it means that a lot more drill artists can eat. And general like artists of color in this country can eat as well. So I think you can take the good with the bad. And more time, other than that Rocky Body one, which is atrocious.
No, the Rocky Body was.
Some of them. Like Ain't It Different is a banger. I like Pump 101.
I don't mind Pump 101.
The Flowers tune was cool.
I don't have issue.
Baby was cool. I won't go back to it, but it's cool. Like these are all cool tunes, but it's probably because of the sample. But either way, like if I think this is the wave now, and if it's the wave, I don't think it's the worst wave.
Listen, man, UK artists, please, man, stop being lazy, bruv. UK producers, stop being lazy, man. If you're gonna sample, like, really chop up the thing, man. Don't make it just a repurposing of the tune, man. Like, build something musical around like a sample. You don't have to just repurpose the tune. And it doesn't even have to be like a popular sample as well, bro. This is why I need to hurry up and get my producer shot.
No, but you know what? Do you know what the problem is though? The way your music knowledge is all you know the non-bait songs. These are our kids when they were growing up. They might just know the bait. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but even if you're using the bait songs, bro, you can still chop it.
I
up to
agree. You
where
can manipulate it.
It
but
sounds
like,
amazing, bro.
I agree, but it's just I think that music's always gonna toggle with us to where naturally we're always gonna have a bias to where it's like, bruv, come on. Like imagine someone done Many Men today and they sample the shit out of Many Men. You're not going to like it no matter how you feel.
Yeah, probably not.
That's my point.
But even if it was chopped up in a way that
I could appreciate it. I could appreciate it, but there are certain songs I just don't think should be touched.
That's my point, and that's that's how our parents felt.
Yeah, sure.
No,
I mean, it's similar to like when you have these rappers go into stations and they're freestyling off certain instrumentals. Don't touch that beat.
Do you want to say
don't even touch. Yeah, I feel that way too. So don't touch it.
Any in particular?
Many Men, don't touch it.
any of Rapid's beats.
Do you know why Peter's a madman?
Don't touch it.
You know why Peter's a madman?
Benjamin's, don't touch it.
Do you know what it's to say? Yo, don't even freestyle all over the beat.
for what?
Don't even remix
Nah,
it. I don't want to hear your straight freestyle over the
don't.
beat. Yeah, he's a madman.
Nah, man.
He's a madman.
Black Thought.
Black Thought can rap on anything he wants.
Feel you.
Cool.
Oh, you talking about New Gen?
Yeah.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
See, this is the problem though.
Yeah, we know. I'm going to play you. Central C has a song called Retail Therapy, which basically samples what Ye sampled on Drive Slow. But it's kind of sped up a little bit. I'm going to play it to you when we finish recording and see how you feel about it. Cool. I actually like the tune. I'll play it for Mo as well. But I think that's an example of when sampling
goes right.
Can be done relatively well. Like, you can still hear the actual sample, but it's done in a way where it's like, it's a little bit more exciting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drive Slow was a little bit slower. You chopped it and screwed it a little bit. But this one is kind of turned up a notch.
I didn't even mind the Tion Wayne one as well. I didn't. Delivery one. I didn't mind
Most of the time you don't. Because again, it's like the tune itself, the sample itself is always good. And that's the thing. As much as producers might be lazy, they're smart because they know which ones to do. They know which ones to
No, they
choose.
don't. One decided to do Baby.
Just searching for a hit, innit?
Yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. So I think it's more so like you say, for the producers than the artist. The artist is gonna, if the beat is good, artists will rap over anything.
That's a fact.
They'll rap over anything. So it's more so the responsibilities of the producers to be more imaginative with what they're sampling and how they're sampling it. So,
did he sound like he was crying to you on Rock Your Body, or was it just me?
He sounded like he was in pain.
He sounded like he was crying, bro.
He sounded like he landed on his ass.
Yeah, I can't lie. Hopefully he's a good rapper. Salute to him.
I mean, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I want to rack you. Nah.
He had a belly on singing that shit. It was a disgusted sight. But anyway, man, salute to the UK scene. Salute to UK producers, man.
Salute to you.
You know what I'm saying?
Salute to you all.
Some of them, anyway.
I said salute to you all.
No, salute to them.
Yeah, salute to them.
But Peter was giving me eyes, innit?
But we know
So
Peter.
I was like, okay,
but
so-
we know what Peter is.
Listen, man, this guy,
Oh, motherfucker.
this guy on his fuck B-dot shit. Boy,
Hey, man. Yo, you've
Fuck
been in your
me,
bag
fuck
this
you,
episode, you know.
producers.
Bro,
You've been in your bag this
listen,
episode.
man.
I can't lie, you've been in your
We're
bag.
gatekeepers, man.
Talk your
We're
shit. bro.
gatekeepers, bro. Like, we have to be responsible for our scene, man. If we ain't gonna do it, who else is gonna do it, bro?
I agree there. I 100%
Do you know what I
agree
mean?
there.
We gotta hold even these like well-esteemed critics. We gotta hold them accountable for the bullshit that they spew as well.
B-dot.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, shout out to him once again.
Shout out to
I feel like
him.
We need to, man. For all this.
No, we don't.
You got to level it out, innit?
I mean, that's
Alright,
salute
man,
to B.
bro,
Salute
I
to
ain't
Elliot
doing
Wilson.
that, man.
Elliot Wilson follows me on Twitter. Salute to Elliot Wilson,
Does
fam. Yeah,
Plug the pod then.
I've tried. I've tweeted him for a few times. I'll do it again though. Why not? He does follow me though. Actually, that's a good shout. I'll actually plug him when we drop this little segment. We're gonna at him.
No, don't do that.
No, why not?
Why should we?
Nah, probably not a good idea.
Everyone will be happy to have people disagree. I'm sure B. loves people disagreeing with him,
Oh,
respectfully.
for sure.
So it's like,
He's had to deal with it. He's had to live with
yeah,
it.
come on, man. And it's, I'm sorry, it's part. You think people are gonna not disagree with us?
Yeah.
Come
that's
on,
fine.
man. You might get told you're wrong every day on TikTok. They like me.
That was a shot as well.
I'm over
You can't get over that,
I'm
Chief.
over
You
I'm
can't.
over gonna respond to that. Bro.
What can I say, fam? The fans have spoken. Chief Keep. Hey,
Well,
man.
Anyway, we're going to move on now. To
Oh.
the front, to the
That,
front.
that Chief Keef conversation caused some issues, man.
Hey,
In certain
man.
households and that, innit?
Yeah.
Where?
Hey, man.
Mad thing.
Hey, it gets like that.
Hey, man.
Hey,
It
man.
happens, innit?